crazy arc.
It's almost autobiographical.
So crazy.
Yeah.
And it's why I'm so passionate about this, because this is not just stuff that, you know, this has helped me find peace. The things in this book have helped me find peace in my love life.
Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, the TV reality show. Yesterday I will be checking on the unhealthy habits that sabotaging your love life by Matthew Hussey. Yes, without wasting much time.
Do you think that dating coaches are any easier to date?
God. It's funny, I've been called a dating coach so many times in my life. I now opt for other titles because the title alone is something I try and steer away from. But
Yeah.
I know that for me, the first chapter of this book is really dispelling the idea.
Any myth that you were a competent dater?
Yeah, I wanted to take myself well and truly off that pedestal that anyone had ever put me on, that I must have been a great guy to date as any kind of whether it was a dating coach people called me, or a relationship coach, or a love coach. I think it's one of the great challenges when you talk about an area is, you know, you're probably going to trip up in that area at some point, and it's going to be a real existential kind of test of, you know, what you do, and whether you know, the imposter syndrome you may feel in what you do, and whether you feel like you really are the complete package in everything you talk about. And I know, you know, it's a very weird thing for me, because I would have people come up to me and say, I'm married because of you, or I'm in this amazing relationship because of you, or this. And for a long time I hadn't found that for myself. And not only had I not found it for myself, but I think I didn't always date in particularly healthy ways. So, you know, that's tough. I was on stage in New York in a live event, and there was a woman who stood up to ask a question. I mean, bear in mind, there's over 1,000 people in this room, a big theater, and a woman stood up and asked a question. I can't remember what she asked, but in my answer, I alluded to the fact that I was single. I said, you know, I get what you're saying. I'm single too, and this part of being single is hard. And someone in the audience just shouted out, why are you single?
How long have you got?
And then another person in the audience, I was like, haha, that's okay. Like, I'm going to keep going. And then another person in the audience shouted out, why are you single? And then like it just started to creep around the audience, and in like almost in unison, the audience like were chanting like, why are you single? I couldn't get forward. I couldn't get past it. And so I had to it was a very weird moment for me. This very meta moment, standing on stage in New York, helping people who wanted to find love, who were questioning why I hadn't found love. So, you know, it's a tricky thing. But I also, on the other side of it, some of the smartest, wisest people I know, and the people who have the most to coach about love, are the people that just got divorced, you know, and they've been in a tumultuous relationship for the last 10 years, or they've been, you know, just left a relationship with someone incredibly abusive or narcissistic. And those are some of the people that you need to hear from when you're venturing out into the world of love.
I have a friend who's a powerlifter in the UK, holds a bunch of different records, and he said, I always want to learn how to bench from a guy who's got long arms. The point being, the longer your arms are, the harder it is to bench.
Oh, that's good.
So another friend, William, talks about, he says, research is me search. He happens to be the #1 researcher of incels on the planet. He has to make the distinction between an incel researcher and a researcher of incels. He's like, I research incels. That does, but you know, all of the evolutionary psychology guys that I'm friends with, everyone that's into human nature, dating, mating, all this stuff, everyone's trying to find their path through. And yeah, you know, if you've gone through the fire and the flames, would it make your insights any more legitimate if you'd breezed through from 19, I found the love of my life and it was a blah, blah. It's like, I don't think so.
No, I think we have to, you have to make a lot of the mistakes that other people are making. You know, I've made so many of the mistakes that I advise against making. And, you know, and look, that's the peril of being anyone who is obnoxious enough to stand up and give advice. on anything.
Will be scrutinized by the standards they are telling other people to avoid.
Yeah, and you probably deserve it. You know, like it's like you probably, if you're going to be any kind of advice giver and put yourself in that position, then it's natural. You're going to be held to a really high standard. And I think what I always tried to do, because I was on YouTube from 19. I'm 36 now. I keep saying I'm 37. I don't know why.
Well, don't do that, dude. I'm 36 as well. We need to hold on to the years of our 30s as much as possible.
No, I'm 36 still for a few more months. But I, when I started out, I always felt like the one thing I wanted is if someone came up to me on the street and met me, they wouldn't be surprised. There would be nothing about the me that they met that would feel at odds with the me that they'd seen on YouTube or on TV or anywhere else. But And that, I think I achieved that, but it still didn't. When I look back now at my utter lack of vulnerability in my 20s, it's shocking to me in a way. It's not shocking because it's almost expected, but life is so much better now. I can sit here with you and I feel like, and this book is a reflection of that, and be just much more myself.
Dude, the book's awesome. I told you this before we started. You have put so much of yourself into, there it is, hanging around there. It's so good. It's so good. It's open and vulnerable, and it is, it's like personal development through the lens of relationships. You know, so much of it is about patterns and how we hide away from emotions, and, you know, it's framed through making up and breaking up in love. But it's actually just about human nature. It's really, really good. I highly advise everyone to go and listen to this. One of the things that you say really early on as well is that our dating patterns are often a way to salve us from sitting and feeling our emotions. You know, something uncomfortable arises inside of us, and then we clamor after a partner that isn't good for us, or we rush into a relationship that's going to be bad for us, or we pull away from somebody that makes us feel like, oh, maybe I am worth something. You know, so much of what we do with other people is the tip of the spear of what's happening internally, and we use that as to anesthetize ourselves away from that.
So much. Yeah, I relate to that so much. When we do that, we're a liability to ourselves because we end up hurting ourselves a lot, because we go through a lot of, you end up going through a lot of heartbreak yourself, and you end up and you can go through heartbreak by being left, and you can also create heartbreak for yourself by leaving. And so I did a lot of that, and then you hurt other people. I hurt other people, and, I'm not proud of those moments. And man, confused people are really dangerous. They hurt a lot of people who don't know what they want, people who haven't figured out their own stuff. They can be very damaging people. And, I know there were so much of what I was dealing with, I owed to being incapable of just sitting with my feelings, being incapable of even really being able to truly access my feelings. Like I didn't, it took therapy, I think, really, for me to get to a point where I could name what I was even feeling half the time, because I couldn't even name it. I would go through tremendous guilt for having broken up with somebody. That would kill me. It would just day after day, it would eat away at me. And it's so much so that I'd be like, I never want to do this again. Like, I never want to get involved with someone again, because I can't take hurting someone. And I remember a therapist once saying to me, the guilt that you feel, it's not that you don't feel guilty, but the guilt is an easier emotion than the real emotion you feel. And I was like, what's the real emotion I feel? And he was like, well, a big part of what you feel is disappointment. That, there's something you want to find, and you're struggling to find it. And you feel disappointed. You feel like, and disappointment's a really hard emotion, right? When you feel like there's something you deeply want, and you don't necessarily know how to find it, or you don't know why you don't seem to be satisfied or why you don't seem to be happy, it's easier to focus on like the guilt I feel for hurting someone else than your own personal disappointment at why am I struggling? Why am I not happy? And it's why I wrote a chapter in the book called Never Satisfied, because I could relate to that feeling of being like, what's going on with me that I have people around me that seem really content in this area of their lives, and they seem to kind of glide through.
Yep.
And I can't seem to find peace here. I'm either being hurt or doing the hurting, but I don't feel in a place of contentment. And that's a scary place to be, because you're like, then you start to think you're broken. Like, I don't know how to be
relationships
happy.
are for other people. Happy, stable relationships are for other people.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm this sort of, whatever the opposite of one of those weeble wob things that you push it and it doesn't fall down. I'm like the thing that doesn't get pushed, but it always falls down.
Yeah.
Why do you think so many people flip-flop between comfortable, lukewarm relationships and inspiring, unrequited ones?
I don't know that we've necessarily defined what the right kind of thing is. So we keep chasing the wrong thing. And, so much of that I truly believe is in our nervous system. And it's in what is familiar. And for a lot of us, peaceful doesn't feel very familiar. It feels strange. It can even feel boring. You just go, this isn't it. But then you meet someone and it's like that feeling, that crazed, attraction and crazy chemistry. And you think, oh, this is it. Like, this is important. And we're measuring the importance of it by the intensity of what.
Yes, guys, we are going into part 2. This is so quiet, interesting, and I'm learning a lot from it. Yes, but before I could say anything I learned from this video, I have to watch it to the end. This is part 1. I'm going to do part 2. Yes, I would like you to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, because I will be posting this video bit by bit until the end. Yes, if you subscribe, you can be able to get notification whenever I post a video. Yeah, that is how it is. Yes, without wasting much time, see you. Bye.